Hi, this is Summer with Summer's Tips and Stitches, and this is a yarn chat video. Let's see here. There's not a ton to talk about, but I do have a few things. So last week was kind of a, I don't want to say a nightmare, but it was a tough go for Flynn, and I was back and forth to the hospital. We should have been going on the first week of him having weekly visits, but the tacro levels, the anti-rejection medicine, were messed up, and so we had to go in for blood work, which are easy appointments if we live nearby, where you just go in, get his blood, and then go. But because we live an hour and 13 minutes away, it's a long drive. But I did get some more squares done. I have plain purple one. I have some done in the party yarn. This is a yarn I have used. I don't think I used it for a hat this year. It knits up super amazing, but this is, I think I have maybe enough to make 2 more squares out of it. It's kind of weird crocheted. It's definitely a knitting yarn. This is a Red Heart Super Saver, and I can't remember what it's called, but I do love this yarn. This is Lion Brand. I can't remember what it's called either. I'm doing great today. Well, I don't have the ball bands. They're just the little remnants. I got 2 out of that purple and then 5 out of this Red Heart. So those, I'm putting them in the bag of granny squares. I actually have a fair amount. I laid it out. And so far, mostly I'm sticking with my main color. I'm going to lay those all out once I've gone through all the yarns of the colors I like. And then I'm going to look at my least favorite colors like black, yellow, green, red, orange. And then see like how many of these, how big is that blanket going to be, you know. And then if I need to add some of those, some of my unfavorite, some of my least favorite colors. I mean, it's not like those colors are offensive. I like them together in a rainbow. And then there are definitely times when those colors are really necessary. Okay. So anyway, so I got a good amount of these going. The bag's over on the other side of the camera, so I'm just going to leave them there. I did, hopefully the last video you saw was me making baby sweaters. I made another baby sweater, and this was with leftover paintbrush yarn. Paintbrush, is it called paintbrush? It's something I ordered a really long time ago. They're DK paint box. That's what it is. I don't have the ball bands for these anymore. Honestly, it was like a couple years ago. And as you can see, I was running out of the teal, so I had to kind of improvise. But this, it definitely seems smaller, even though these both are DK. See, it does seem a little smaller, just a touch, than the one with the Tweedle. I don't remember what she called it. Just a little. So I'm thinking about doing one in worsted weight yarn, which I'm going to jump to the worsted weight yarn situation I'm going to show you and then come back. So I did finish 2 of these sweaters. Now I'm going to show you this worsted weight yarn that I bought. It was all by chance. Today I went to Walmart to do some grocery shopping. I was actually looking for the Red Heart Granny Square yarn, which I have not seen. And then way on the bottom shelf I saw this yarn, Red Heart Speckled Jumbo Speckle. Now I've never seen these before. I haven't even heard of them, but I'm obviously not a big Red Heart shopper. Most of the time I get my yarn at Joann's or Hobby Lobby, and neither one of them really carry a lot of Red Heart. But I did buy both of them. I think they look super cute. I'm thinking they would look really cute as a hat. Here this gal's crocheted a hat with one. So I thought about knitting a hat in these, and then also just to see how it looks knitted and how it looks crocheted. I can't remember how much they were. I want to say it was like something 88, like 588, 488, 688, something like that. So I did get 2 of these. Of course, these are acrylic. This was all they had. It was like way on the bottom. I had to get on the floor. I had to lay down and look on the bottom rack. There was none other. So I'm really actually pretty thrilled. I love a speckled yarn. I was going to see if I could see one of these other pink that I had gotten from a yarn shop. So I'm actually pretty excited about trying these out. I also am going to make a baby sweater. And so when I was making the pink speckled tweed one, I was using the exact hook sides that she recommended in the video. Then I realized my tension was a little tight, so when I went up to the next one, I did use a bigger hook size, a 4.5 and a 4. No, 4.5 and a 5. But because the yarn is smaller than the tweed, even though they both say they're DK, it still came out a little small. So I'm going to try a worsted weight now. I'm going to try a 4 yarn, and I'm going to try to do it with the 4.5 and the 5 hook and just see. Now, I've yet to find myself a newborn baby to see how these actually fit. I don't have access. Isn't that funny? I don't have access to a newborn baby. I can't even think of anybody that's... I know some people that are cooking one up right now, but I won't be able to see, you know. And then Maddie's got these dolls. I don't know if you've ever seen that. She's got some dolls down here that are lifelike, but I hadn't verified with her which of those dolls, they're Ashley something dolls, to see which one of them wore newborn size clothing. So I haven't yet tested the head, because that is crucial with these sweaters because they don't button. Again, I can put a link in the description to the video tutorial for those sweaters, because these sweaters don't button down the middle. You have to pull it over the head. So I'm going to try one of those probably next. Now I'm very excited, you guys. I have been working out of the book that my husband got me for Christmas. I actually realized I had one other of her books. This is by Erinna. It's like Erin with an extra N-A, Erinna. Or it could be Erinna. I don't know. Erinna Lee. I was just realizing that this book was by her too. Amigurumi Treasures. I really love this. I actually have never made anything out of this book. But I got down to business. Now, initially I told you guys that I was going to make the bee, but I decided against it. I've gone right into making this boy. Now, part of the reason I went to that is because I'm trying to find the available colors in the yarn that I have here. Now, I can't remember her name, but one of our friends in the Summer's Tips and Stitches Facebook group, she posted pictures of her making some just like in the pattern book, and then her using her regular worsted weight yarn, whatever color she wanted. And so seeing those kind of made me feel better about using my own colors, because this is the deal. I don't have hardly any fingering yarn because I'm a crocheter mostly. And so when it comes to yarn, the bulk of my collection is DK or worsted weight, 3 or 4 size. So when I was looking at this fella right here, I felt like his yarn kind of reminded me of the Bella Coco yarn or the Crochet Society yarn. So more specifically this yarn here. It's called Bella Coco Crochet Confection DK. So I went through all of my hoard, leftover. So I was collecting yarn that was leftover from Crochet Society boxes, projects that I never did, or leftover from those 2 blankets, because I did the advent calendar last year and the year before. This past year I couldn't do it this current Christmas because obviously I was in the hospital with Flynn. But I started going through all my niblets, all my scraps, and even the little balls, and saving those. And I came up with a color palette, not exactly the same, because she wanted us to use brown, shades of green, and then his skin color, which I think is beige. I didn't have those. So what I ended up doing is choosing a palette of blues, because I didn't have the palette of greens and browns, because as you know, those are my Ucky color list. So what I did to make this easier for myself is I listed the colors that from this picture, the best I could, what I thought she had chosen them for. So for example, cream was one of the colors in the squares in his pants. His hair is dusty blue. His hat, his brim of his pants, and his shoes are brown. He has some light green in his shorts. He has some moss green and some beige. And so I wrote those all down, like where it says, here, I'm going to show you like this. Where it lists all the colors, I wrote them all down. And then I looked at the picture to see what was made in that color. The wings, the hat, the shorts, the shirt, blah, blah, blah. Then I wrote down the names of the colors that I had available that I was going to make him out of. So I chose to switch their cream to white. It's the best I can do, you guys, okay? His hair in the picture is blue hair. And even though I do have this blue, I was using that blue for something else. So his hair was a gray color called, it actually called it dusty blue, even though it was gray. And I'm going to have to show you. I used it all up. I have nothing left. In fact, I ran out right here and I don't have enough for this last piece right here. So I'm just hoping that the look of his hair is so that you can't tell that he's missing. I mean, you can sort of see it here, but that's it, you guys. I don't have any other hair. My only other option was rip out all of his hair and use this yarn, which is Bella Coco confection, but it's Irresistible Aran. So it's a little bit bigger. I'm not an expert on the Aran situation, because that's mostly a British thing, I believe. I think it's in, some people say it's like a worsted weight. Some people say it's a little smaller, that it's like a 3.5. But I decided I was just gonna let it go, that little bit of the yarn didn't work. So I changed his hair from dusty blue to this beautiful gray. His hat, oh no, Earl Grey was what it is, Earl Grey. Dusty blue is what she did. I switched this to Earl Grey. I have to weave this little bit in here. I have a little bit right here that I have to weave in, and then that's it. I honestly have no more of that gray. Then she had the hat, the shoes, and the waistband brown, and I'm using what looks similar to her blue color. I'm using this, which is called Raspberry Sour. Then she has one square in his pants and his shirt and a light green, which I used this yarn, which is called Sugar Mouse. And then his wings and another square in his pants, she had him as moss green. This one is a little wild, you guys, and I'm using Ice Pop. I believe this is it. Yeah, Ice Pop. I know it's bright, but it's the best blue I could find. I'm still on edge of switching this one in, which I don't have a name for. I lost the ball band. It's in there somewhere. And then his skin, she had him as beige, and I'm using Marshmallow. Okay, so this is the color palette that I have here for this guy. See that the Ice Pop is bright. I could take the Ice Pop out and use this, which does look a little better. So because it's just part of his pants and the wings, I might do them both. Now, so that is what I have been doing. I'm actually thinking about making another one, because in my hoards of yarn, I'm gonna put all this back. I have everybody organized. I just messed it up. I do have in here, this is more of the confection DK, if you will. I went through my whole hoard here and I pulled out all my confection DK. And I have another one of these really bright ones. blueberry. You know, this, I could still switch the blueberry, but for now. And then I actually have quite a bit of these pink colors, and that's because of that lion right there. I bought a couple of those past boxes and I stocked up on those. So I'm debating on whether or not I make another pattern from here and make like a little girl. So that's what I've been doing to make things easier for me. I wrote down her colors, I wrote down what she made out of them, and then I wrote down the colors I'm going to be using, and I've been following along pretty well. The thing that's gotten me the most, I don't want to say confused or frustrated, is I'm getting ready to do his pants, which she has listed as like a tapestry. So here's his body, which I've got to sew his head right to that. So there he is. There's, oh wait, yeah. Wait, yeah, that's his back. So I'm going to sew his head there, and there's his feet. I'm not really a fan of his feet. He's kind of pigeon-toed. And then here are his, here's one of his arms. I thought when I was looking at the picture that he was holding a nut, but no, that's just his big clunking hand. And let's see if I can very carefully balance his head. And then there. And the clothes for these patterns are made separate, and you like put them on. That's the same thing about his head. His head was made, and then you make like a wig cap, and then you attach the hair to the wig cap. I will say that because my tension is so tight, I had to redo his whole head cap because I already made and stuffed his head, and I had to drop from a 3.5 to a 3.25 in order to get the head cap to fit his head a little better, because it was too late for me to undo him and restuff him a little thicker. So overall, the pattern is going well. I'm a little, you know, I'm getting ready to do the shorts, which is going to be, like I said, she's got it written as Tapestry. Now, I do have a little bit of experience from that because of Crochet Society. The last two blankets that she had. No, I think Mosaic was the first one, and Tapestry with Crochet was the other one. So I'm going to fake it. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to fake it. It's a little checkerboard pattern, and she does actually have a little chart up here. So I'm going to try my best to just make some shorts. And if all else fails, you know what? He might just get a solid color pair of shorts, right? And then after the shorts, all I have to do is his hat and the wings. And then just sew his wings on, sew his arms on. I'm sure I'm going to have to do something to attach those shorts. I can't imagine they're going to stay up on their own. And then the hat. Now, if I would have known that I was running out of the Earl Grey, because I had a full skein and a partial, and it called for 50 gram ball, and I did have over 50, so I had no idea. I think I would have started, she has you start from the crown and work down. I think if I would have known that I was possibly going to run out, I would have started from the outside and worked up to the crown. Or, I don't know if you can tell, up here she had the hair is like a little loopy, and it's chain 10. By the time I got down here, I was chaining 9 and 8 and 10, kind of making them a little shorter. So, you know, you live and learn. Oh, I have another little niblet over here to sew in. So overall, I'm really enjoying it. The pattern is really, I mean, I would say it's definitely intermediate to almost advanced. There's a picot, but it's definitely a matter of a lot of counting, a lot of stitch marking, and I made it more difficult, I think, changing colors, because typically I don't usually change the colors. But yeah, so after that, I do want to kind of try to make one in worsted weight, just all this Red Heart colored yarn I have up here, and see what I can find. But yeah, that is the latest project I'm working on. Because I'm so close to finishing him, I think I'm going to finish him and then start the baby sweater in the speckled yarn. And then actually, you guys, I never finished covering this pickle jar because I ran out of yarn. I chose a color and I didn't have enough, so then I pulled it all off, and then I got sidetracked with other things. So I've been using this. I actually don't mind this tall pickle jar as a yarn bowl. I mean, obviously it's recycling and it has a nice, it's not like sometimes if I pull too hard, my yarn will bounce out of my yarn bowl and go askew. And then I do know they have those jars, which I do have 2 up here, where there's a lid on it and it has that hole. Well, if you wanted to, you have to finish off the yarn before you can take it out. This is just an open jar, so I can just plop it in and out. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see how things go, but that's what I'm working on. I got the blanket that I work on when I go to and from the hospital. Finishing up this baby over here, this doll, and then I'm going to make a baby sweater. So all in all, I'm pretty happy with my my current projects. Yeah, and that is about that. Now, just in case you wanted a little bit of an update on Flynn, if you made it this long, Flynn had a really good doctor's appointment this week. He's on track. All of his blood work is coming back, that his immune system is slowly growing. He's making his own blood. He's slowly increasing. He's still obviously can't leave the house until February 29th. We can't have visitors until February 29th. So it's slowly progressing, but so far everything looks like the transplant side of things is great, perfect. So the only thing that we've had to kind of manage and that we're kind of fussing a bit with is his anti-rejection medicine, which I don't know if that's what's keeping him from rejecting Maddie's marrow or if he's just not feeling like rejecting her, and so it's been okay. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I'll hop back on in a few days and let you see how the doll went and let you see how the baby sweater went. And yeah, we'll check in with a new, I also really want to do a pattern out of here, because I bought this at my last Michael's. Either I want to do that bear or I wanted to do this bunny. So I've got 2 on the hopper here, if you will. Yeah. So that is all for this yarn video. I'll put a link in the description to those 2 books. I can also put a link in the description to the Tweed Twinkle, I think. I can't put a link in the description. I'm not quite sure how else to access this yarn other than Crochet Society, and I don't even know what they're using now since I dropped out. All right, thanks for watching and subscribing. Thanks for liking and sharing my videos. And until the next video, happy crafting. Bye!